What's going on, my fair and fellow students of life? It is the Dropout Professor back again with another little video, little lesson. How have you been? You been doing okay? Good. Um, so this one, I did want to talk about a particular subject, which I know I've not been in the habit of doing as much as I set out to with this channel. But anyway, we are going to be discussing the birds and the bees. To some extent, I'm sure if you're on this channel, this ain't no Miss Rachel. You probably know how babies are made and all that. But yeah, we have a problem in this country, particularly with love and relationships. I think the world over, but culturally, America, we are not doing so hot, guys. We are really not. We need to figure out what we want. I need to figure out what I want. I know that much. But no, it's an important building block of being a person, relationships and romance and all these sorts of things. So, yes, we've got like 50 to 60% of first marriages failing and ending in divorce. That's not good. I don't think that's up for debate. If we're getting married, if we're making vows and all this stuff, we're going to the state and we're saying, hey, officially recognize us as a couple for the rest of our lives. We need to understand the gravity of that before we go and do that. And then also the gravity of bringing children into the world. That is kind of the big hullabaloo about it, and why marriage and monogamy has the status that it does in our culture. Husbands and wives and don't cheat on me and da da da. All that stuff's kind of pretty ingrained into the way that we've built the world. I don't think that we have to stick to that necessarily for things to be okay. But I think that what is good is fidelity and commitment. What is not is wanton hedonism and just, whatever feels good right now, man. That's not going to take us anywhere great. But I understand it's hard. I understand it's a lot to ask of somebody to be like, yeah, this is it. I'm the only person you're ever going to be with for the rest of your days. That's a big ask. I know. I would certainly understand anyone having a bit of pause about that and not being like, oh, well, let me just dive right in. Not just for me, but just in any relationship in general, I'm saying. But I also understand, why people do the poly thing, and variety is the spice of life. I don't want to just one person all my life. I want that, I get that too. But I also have tried that. I've tried monogamy. I can't say one is really better than the other. They're just different. And I'm not saying that, it's got to be like this. It's got to be like that. If you're doing it like this, you're doing it wrong. No. But, I think that if you are in a relationship it it does benefit both you and the other person to be committed to that relationship that you're in and not really entertain other people as viable means of meeting those needs that you're not sharing with the your primary partner, to use some poly terminology. But it's not bad necessarily. I just think that it strengthens the bond to be fully committed to the one person rather than, being able to mess around with other people. That being said, I think that that's not true of everybody. You got to know yourself. Some people, it can strengthen the bond to be able to express to the other person, hey, I kind of find her attractive. I kind of find him cute. I want to do things with this person, blah, blah, blah. And that can strengthen the bond as well. Being able to have those conversations honestly and openly, and feeling that there's not a judgment there, that, there's not insecurity. It's just, this is what it is. I feel this way about this person, and I want to have this sort of experience with them. And that's fine for some people, but other people, that's devastating. So it is important to be able to recognize that within yourself and be able to express that with your partner in a way that is not going to be detrimental to you both. One thing that I've found in therapy and counseling to be helpful when implemented consistently is the I feel statement thing. If you've done any therapy, you've probably run into this, even if it's not necessarily for a marriage or a relationship, but just expressing yourself with I feel blah 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 instead of you did this, you said that, blah 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 blah. That kind of stuff that can be accusatory and not really helpful for expressing oneself in a constructive way. So the I feel thing is helpful. It is good. It can ease the way that you take things as well. If you hear your partner say, I feel unappreciated, I feel whatever it may be, rather than you do this, you're like that, blah blah blah, that sucks more. So take that with a grain of salt, take it as you may. But yeah, I mean, I've seen religious marriages fail, and I've seen secular marriages succeed. I don't think there is like a big proponent to that, other than it helps to be in agreement on things. It's not just in terms of the label that you slap on it, but actually the theology has to be in agreement, the sexual preferences have to be in agreement. These sorts of things being misaligned it's building a house on a sand dune. Not gonna work too good. So yeah, it is beneficial to have a firm sort of baseline of agreement in the big areas, values, principles, ideas of, what is important spiritually, ethically uh, shared interests is good, but it's not super consequential ultimately. It is nice to be able to, have hobbies that you enjoy doing together. It's not great for a relationship if the main thing that you like to do together is like get high or um, just watch Netflix. That's like your big. You both like watching TV. Not a whole lot to to build from with that kind of Venn diagram. But even that, it if you don't like to watch the same things on Netflix, you don't like to do the same activities, you don't like to eat the same food, it doesn't really matter how much you like each other or admire each other or respect each other. That's not a great place to build a life together from, of just like, yeah, we're gonna be constantly making concessions to the other. There's someone better for you out there. And this is the problem I have with abstinence sort of education and things, because yes, it is true that having a child is a big responsibility, as you've probably heard. If you haven't, it is, I promise. But the uh, the downside of having a marriage and having kids together and then not sticking it out, I do certainly respect people sticking in marriages for, their best selves and their children's best interest. But I also acknowledge that sometimes people should not be together, and staying together for the kids is a farce and is ultimately more detrimental than had they just separated and been mature about that. There is so much case by case by case sort of things when it comes to relationships. It is really important to know yourself, to know your partner, to be able to talk about things and express how you feel, how you want to feel, where you want to go, where your goals are going, and to not just, oh, yeah, I'm cool with whatever, and then you're not. I can admit, if any of my exes have watched this, they're probably like, "Where was this guy when I was talking to you? What are you? Who are you lecturing people on emotional regulation and I feel statements? What?" I get it. I know. It is hard to know how to navigate this complicated sort of stuff. I certainly don't think that you should just like look the other way if your partner's cheating and excuse it because you did take vows or something like this. I hope that you find this helpful, interesting, enlightening, whatever. And I will catch you on the next one. Please like, share, subscribe, all the YouTubey jazz. And we'll see you later.